Last week, we saw Bitcoin reaching $54,000, Ethereum going below the 3K. So let's take a look at some numbers and data to see what actually happened in the whole crypto space. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Yeah, last week was a doozy. We saw a huge selling pressure. We saw over $300 million in liquidations. We saw governments dumping on us. We saw a lot of things. And if this is your first time, your first rodeo, welcome to the show. So you're gonna see a lot more of these. Of course, these fluctuations are not very common, or at least not anymore, but you will see it more often than you want to. So Bitcoin 54K, currently it is at 56.7, so 56,728. Bitcoin is at 3,000 flat, but after a troublesome week, let's take a look at inflows, outflows, and a whole lot of market data. And we can start with this positive news right here. This article saying that Web3 users reached an all-time high of 10 million people in Q2. This is according to DappRadar, the cap score of addresses. So 10 million addresses in total, 10 million wallets in total. Does that mean 10 million users? No, it does not, because again, it is an inflated number, because you can have as many wallets, as many addresses that you want as a single person. So a lot of this could be attributed to airdrops, which are the craze right now. It is the new hype, is for you to be farming an airdrop, and this is spread even to users who don't necessarily want to invest in crypto. They just want to farm airdrop tokens, points, whatever can get them a little bit of money. So these unique active wallets, as you would expect, the majority of these wallets, they are focusing on the gaming sector. So Web3 games for the bigger chunk of the unique active wallets. So there's a lot of people farming GameFi protocols, and after that we have social, then we have DeFi, and then we have NFTs. These are the main industries that we have active wallets into. And surprisingly, the top DeFi dApps actually see on number 1 and number 2, they see 2 Solana protocols. We have Raydium and Jupiter. So Raydium most likely is because of the liquidity providing, because again, we have Uniswap right after on third place. So we have Raydium and Uniswap for liquidity providing, so concentrated liquidity most likely. Then we have Jupiter as exchange for Solana. Then we have SyncSwap. This is actually very interesting, and Good Dollar right after. Good Dollar I'm not familiar with, but we can see that it actually fell down by 13% in unique active wallets. It fell by 13% this past month. And meanwhile, if we look at L2s, Linea and Base were outliers. So they grew by a lot. Linea's TVL went up by 420% in Q2, while Base went up 44%. Maybe not new money, but money going from one blockchain all the way to these 2 blockchains right here, Linea and Base. Most likely there's a lot of incentives for airdrops, for liquidity providing, for farming over there. So there's a lot of people interested in getting these profits by moving their capital all the way over there. So L2s, as usual, they perform very well across different types of market. On bullish scenarios, bearish scenarios, there's always money to be made in L2s. And still regarding DeFi, ConsenSys has announced that it has acquired WalletGuard. WalletGuard is a security tool, and they will be implementing this security tool into MetaMask. MetaMask being the biggest wallet provider for decentralized finances. So the extension, the app on your phone, you can interact with dApps via the MetaMask extension. Of course, now it is not the only one, not the only wallet. We have wallets that, in my opinion, are way better than MetaMask, but because MetaMask is the industry standard, because everyone uses it, then this is most likely everyone's first wallet. It was my first wallet, and most likely yours as well. So still a lot of people use MetaMask, and they're always trying to keep the lead as being the biggest wallet for Web3. So they just acquired a new tool that should make it safer. We know how many scams we have across crypto space regarding MetaMask support, all these sorts of things. Even mentioning that name, we know we're going to attract bots here in the comments or also on Twitter. But it is good to see that not because they have the biggest market share, they're just going to stay there and do nothing. So it's good to see that they're working. Again, I'm not sure if that will bring them more users, because at the end of the day, they're always is losing quarter by quarter, losing market share to some new wallets like Phantom Wallet or Rabby, for example. And we have a new EIP. We have a new Ethereum improvement proposal, and that is number 7732, and we should bring speed to transactions. So it will break the transaction into consensus and execution, and that should make it way more faster to be approved. So not going to get into technicalities here on how it works specifically. Most likely someone will make a very technical video for you to watch and understand if that's something that you want. But the Ethereum blockchain, since it is decentralized, for everything to be changed or approved, it needs to go through governance. And there was a proposal to update, and this is the good thing about blockchain. It can be always updated to always be the best that it can be at the specific time. So the devs are trying to pass these EIP, and it should improve performance and security in the blockchain. So as always, we have to see how it goes. We have to see how that will affect gas prices, how it will affect L2s, speed on L2s. So a lot of good things so far for the future of Ethereum. Out of the 100 top tokens, most last week traded in the red. So maybe just removing the stable coins out of these 100, we have seen red all throughout the top 100. That is scary. And we saw the total TVL for DeFi going below the $90 billion. So this number is now currently at around $80 billion, which is scary because if you look right here on DeFi Llama, we're now at 87 billion. Just a few days ago, so June 4th, so a month ago, we were over the $100 billion. And just out of the sudden, right after that, we started bleeding, and now we are at the 87. And if we actually see how it was on peak DeFi time, so November 2021, which was back at rebase token season, so Ohm, Time Wonderland, all these protocols that were rebase tokens, this was peak DeFi, so 2021, you can see that we were over the $168 billion in TVL. And then after that, we had dry season all the way from 2022 to end of 2023, and then we saw TVL spiking back again. So will this happen just in a minor scale right now, or is it just a small correction in the grand scheme of things, and then it's going to pick it back up again? I personally don't know. We might be looking at something like this again, and then we should see a spike. I don't know. This is not something that I have some data for us to discuss on. And it's just scary to see how it can fluctuate from over 100 billion and lose 20 billion just in a matter of a few days. That being said, this is not just negative news, because even throughout last week, we saw inflows, record inflows after the July 4th dip. We saw inflows, guess where? On the spot Bitcoin ETFs. It is crazy to see that right after the dip, people, instead of being scared, they actually bought the dip. I said that in the last video. It is crazy to see people buying the dip, because a lot of people say that. A lot of people actually boast about buying dip, but actually they never buy the dip because they are too scared. We see the fear and greed index being all the way to the red, all the way to extreme fear almost. And a lot of people are actually just bouncing. They're saying, crypto is a scam. I'm losing money here. I'm never going to come back again. But this is not actually the case for the ETFs, the stock people who I would never have guessed that they would have been buying the dip. We saw an overall inflow of 117 million right after 4th of July. So we can see right here on the data, $143 million in total that went in on July 5th. And this is crazy because, as I said in the last video, this is a prime opportunity for you to buy Bitcoin. And it's good to see that a lot of people, even if they're not into DeFi or crypto itself, they're pretty much putting money still in stocks. That doesn't affect much the crypto market as a whole. But it is nice to see there's still a lot of people who do believe and do see the potential in Bitcoin, and just like me think that $54,000 is just a bargain for Bitcoin, especially looking towards the future. Maybe this resilience will continue, maybe you won't. Again, we have to wait for major events regarding Mt. Gox, because right now they just started moving. They didn't start repaying users yet, but they started moving capital around. So around $2.7 billion worth of Bitcoin was moved from one address to another. So that is just maybe preparing for what they have to do to repay everyone else. So there is still a lot of eyes here waiting for Mt. Gox, because if that money is dumped into the market, we are most likely going to see a sell-off again on Bitcoin, and that could bring the end of the resilient saga that we saw for Bitcoin ETF holders, and maybe the inflow will become an outflow and a lot of money will start bleeding out of these ETFs. Who knows? We have to see how users will react. We have to see how people will react to these news and to the market pressure, the selling pressure. Once Mt. Gox and again the German government, like they started doing already, they start to sell off the Bitcoin at market prices. So these are the news. We have to keep an eye on these prices for us to get better entries with options. So my best strategy would be just to lay low. I'm personally not trading currently. I just have the copy trading going, and the copy trading is actually doing very, very good. It is performing very, very well. We are 6% up in the month, so that is super good to see. If you want to check out Bitopic, it's going to be the first link in the description as always. I apologize for the late videos last week. We had a lot of things going on, but this week we should be getting all the videos at the right time, at the right place. So I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Peace.